Peace and love, everybody. Peace and salute. Y'all, I am so excited. I know that the fight already happened last night, but as I was just prepping to come and speak to you guys today, remember how I told you guys yesterday in the video I put out yesterday that I had no nerves, I had no, angst, no tension or anxiety for this fight, that I had a sense of calm over me? I still have this sense of composure about myself. I'm still excited, but I'm excited because I got what it is that I wanted. And that is a phenomenal war between two beautiful kings. I am so elated that I got exactly what it was that I was looking for. These two beautiful men showed up, y'all, and showed the fuck out. First of all, congratulations to both of these beautiful warriors. What? Tank Davis and Frank Martin, y'all, gave me and the boxing world a spectacular, absolutely exciting night of boxing. These men have my respect through and through and my support hands down. This is the reason why these two men are two of my favorites in the sport. Period. That's on period. Without question, you guys. Last night we saw wisdom at work, y'all. We saw myriad things at work. One of them was definitely wisdom. Okay, coming from the Gervonta Tank Davis side. Tank Davis came alive pretty much in the second half of the fight, as he tends to do. And boy, oh boy, did he stop the show, you guys. I'm like, whoa, super exciting. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. Quite frankly, of course, I still am. Okay. We also saw a Frank Martin, y'all, that did not back down, that did not come to play, that was with every bit of the shits and wanted every ounce of that smoke. Okay. We saw a Frank who did not buckle under those lights. We saw amazing footwork. We saw a beautiful display of athleticism and a readiness that was completely at work. We also got to see some challenges, what had to be overcome in real time. We saw a fight of dominance between two lions. We saw generalship, and we most definitely, most of all, saw timing. That is the magic word of this fight, you guys, because that is exactly what came into play and what ultimately led to the outcome that we saw. Okay? What a fight we got last night, you guys. Now, for the first half of the bout, Frank Martin looked, y'all, the man looked beautiful to me. His feet were stunning. He was effective with his jab. He was not greedy. He exercised patience. He looked for his shots absolutely well. The man was agile on his toes. That man was driving me crazy. Real talk. I'm like, yes, Frank, put the motherfucking work in. What? He looked beautiful to me. I loved watching his athleticism in motion. He did not tire. He stayed sharp on those toes, as I said, and he asserted dominance right from the start. His combinations were flowing. You guys, this man did not come to play games. I was loving it. Actually, he began bruising the face of Tank Davis as early as the second and third rounds, you guys. That's how much dominance was being established by the King Frank Martin. Okay? He was handing out serious punishment. Okay? Now, by the fourth round, this is where Tank to me began to wake up a little bit, because we know he likes to take in information in the earlier rounds. He likes to feel the temperature of the room, put his toe in the water, and kind of gauge what his opponents are doing. So in this case with Frank Martin, Tank began to definitely wake up to me as I saw it in the fourth round. Tank began pushing Martin off of him. Okay, he started to get more physical. He started to show signs of sitting more on his punches, and he began throwing those punches little by little with more and more venom as time progressed. After the fourth round, to me, in the corner, it was around this time, y'all, that Derrick James warned Martin to stay off of the goddamn ropes. Okay? Right as they were heading into the fifth round, when they were in the corner, this is where James already, foresaw, what could possibly prevail. Okay, or what could possibly pose some issues. James already knew the trouble that could be posed with Frank staying against the ropes for any amount of prolonged period of time. He gave his guidance and he demanded that Frank remain alert and away from the motherfucking ropes. Okay, so early on we see Derrick James's wisdom and his foresight at play here, and he gave Frank the knowledge. Now, what happened afterwards, is history in the history books now. But going into that fifth round, Tank definitely turned it up another notch. Okay, he began to stalk Martin around this time to me. Okay, he made Frank respond to him, and he made him respond on his back foot. Okay, this means that Tank was the one applying pressure. This is Tank Davis in motion now, establishing some dominance and generalship. Okay, Tank was dictating the pace. He was setting the motion a bit more. He was throwing more at will, and he was blocking a lot of Frank's attempts at the shots and making his energy and his presence more felt in that ring. This is Tank Davis stepping it up in the fifth round. He was super patient, okay, and he took in the intel and information needed to pursue more and more effectively and accurately, you guys. This is the intelligence of Tank Davis that was at work. In the sixth round, Frank came out strong to me with a nice stiff jab. He was doubling that jab. He stayed on his toes. He didn't show signs of wear and tear or being tired. He looked really good and sprightly. Davis in this round to me responded with some nice 1-2s, and he continued to keep Frank on the back foot. And now it's in this round that we begin to see where Frank begins staying more and more along the ropes, okay? Despite the beautiful King Derrick James warning. Okay, we see him touching the ropes, his back touching the ropes. He moves, and then somehow, some way, he's back on the ropes around this time. Though he was quick on his feet and he was definitely sprightly, he kept touching the ropes nonetheless in particular moments. And that's a no-no, because to me, some of the best work that I've seen, probably all that I can account for of the best work that I've seen of Tank Davis, happens to be what he does to his opponents while they are on or near the ropes. Okay? Go look at this man's highlight reels. Most of his devastating work of those highlight moments are from this particular position. Okay, so Tank was definitely calculative and making sure that little by little and slowly but surely, he got him into the position that he wanted, and he was testing to see how he can keep him there, how he can maneuver to back him up into the position. And of course, that played out in his favor later on in the fight. Now in round 7, Davis threw more assertive and more aggressive shots in this round. He started to come out of his shell even more. His left hand started to get wild and mean. Okay, I loved it. But Frank was also responding with some beautiful combinations, you guys. But again, he continued to meet the ropes. Okay, and this made Tank more and more comfortable to unleash his own shots as he saw fit. Tank's jab was touching Frank as if to see where he was tender, right? As if to see where he was open and pliable and malleable, right? He wanted to see where Frank couldn't see. And he sensed the soft spot eventually, because in the 8th round, Tank definitely continued that pressure, and he continued pinning Frank to the goddamn ropes right where he wanted them. That gap that was exhibited between them in the first 4 to 5 rounds was no more. Okay. Tank completely closed the distance little by little. In the 8th round, it was gone. No more gap. Okay. He closed the gap completely. Frank stood ground really well. Nonetheless, okay. He was continuing his own onslaught, throwing those beautiful combinations with laser precision. But eventually, Martin found himself along the ropes, okay? He was getting closer and closer to those ropes, and he found himself against them, and Davis was throwing some mean shots, you guys, okay? He was throwing some mean shots. They had bad intentions on them, and it was absolutely evident that he was charged up and trying to get Frank out of there. Okay, it was no games from that point on. Frank was definitely doing his thing, though. Okay, he was dodging shots, he was ducking shots while he was against the rope. You know what I'm saying? He was weaving them shits. But as he brought his head up, okay, he was evading a lot of the onslaught that Davis was throwing, but it was in a split second that as he was bringing his head up in a brief pause from the barrage of Tank, as he brought his head up, that is when Tank caught him with a motherfucking phenomenal, fast, and unseen left hook. And that shit put Martin down immediately. The man was out. He was done. Okay. He just didn't see it coming. That left hook was super fast. Right as he brought his head up from evading the other punches, bang, Tank caught him and he was out. I was stunned, you guys. I'm like, wow. Whoa, this is what I love about boxing. You cannot expect anything less than the unexpected, you guys. Tank did a fantastic job, okay? And Tank is also wonderful at playing possum too, okay? Because a lot of the earlier rounds, while he was eating a lot of those shots from Frank, it seemed to me that in these moments, Tank really seems to be in a state of being calculative, okay, and perceptive. He is downloading important information from his opponents, and he is watching their moves, watching their output, and making sound estimations about how to approximate, how to receive the information as intelligibly as possible so that he can predict what he will do. Okay, in response to that, he is super effective with that, Tank Davis, super effective. That's why he has the success rate that he does. He's very intelligent, very deceitful, and cunning. Okay, did I not say that in my analysis breakdown video last week? He is very, very deceitful as a fighter. Okay, super cunning, and all of that was at working on display last evening, and it brought him a massive, beautiful victory over Frank Martin. You guys, this was such a fantastic fight. Okay, Tank Davis is now 30-0, and he has shown why he is one of the best fighters that the sport has to offer, just period, as a whole, hands down. Okay, but then again, he also took some serious punishment from Frank Martin, okay? But he managed to weather the storm, okay? He's experienced, he was patient, and he showed that he's an absolute dog, okay? Tank Davis knows his power. He understands his position. He knows his body, okay? He knows what to do in war. He is not afraid of getting hit. He is not afraid of deep waters or how to become comfortable, okay, in a storm of emotions, cheering fans, and high expectations. Okay, he rises to the occasion each and every time. The young man, it really is a legend in the making, and it's beautiful to see his greatness ascending. He is definitely what the sport needs. Now, as for Frank Martin, you guys, I just can't say enough about him either. Even though he didn't get the W, I am so proud of this man, you guys. He looked amazing in that ring, that first half of the fight. Every point of the fight up until, the final moment, okay? He did not let the lights fool him or faze him. He was assertive, and he was able to stay on target for a majority of the fight. That's real talk, you guys. Funny enough, if one just looked at the pictures, right? If one just took a look at the pictures of the aftermath of the fight between the two men, one would think that it was Frank who won this battle. Okay? If you were just doing a comparative picture, these two people got into a fight, who won? Somebody would say that Frank motherfucking won. Okay? Okay? You'd seriously think he'd won the battle. Aside from a little puffiness around his eye, he really just looked like he finished a workout, real talk. Not a high-level, elite, competitive fight. Now, Tank Davis, on the other hand, looked like he done fell off a speeding bike. Ain't that crazy? Salute to the king, Frank Martin. Y'all better put some respect on this man's name. Real talk, I can't wait to see him back in the ring. He's earned even more of my respect for him as a warrior, okay? I'd still love to see him and Core go at it still. Hands down, that's a fight I definitely want to see. And anybody else who won it at 135, real talk. And if the young king moves up to 140, everybody there is definitely on smoke notice. That's without question. And I think he'd fit right in with no problem whatsoever. I'd love to see him, real talk, I want to see him run it back with Tank 2 down the line at some point. Why the fuck not? Why not, you guys? Think about it. This was an absolutely competitive fight, charged up and exciting. All the way up until the point of the knockdown, this was a competitive match, and he was giving Tank that business. Let's not act like Frank wasn't handling business in that ring, y'all. Okay? I know a lot of you motherfucking fanboys are going to be, riding the bandwagon because Tank won, and a lot of you Tank fans are happy about him winning, as you should be, low-key as I am and high-key as I am for the young god as well. But let's not act like Frank wasn't handling motherfucking business in that ring, you guys. Okay? The man was handling business and he was looking beautiful, and it was a beautiful display between these two men. I think a part 2 would be absolutely explosive. You know what I mean? If boxing fans can call for, what's his name? A Cruz rematch or a Ryan Garcia goddamn rematch, okay? Then what would the excuse be for Frank not having a rematch when this fight was definitely more edge of the seat, definitely more titillating, okay, and noteworthy? What? I'd definitely love to see that fight ran back at some point down the line. Okay, I would not be opposed to seeing that at all sometime in the future, but who knows? I definitely don't want to hear it. Oh, he don't deserve it. And you know how these sassy ass man fans get, oh no, he already won. What the fuck ever, okay? If he can entertain the possibility of Ryan Garcia or goddamn Pitbull Cruz, he can sure enough give Frank Martin a part 2 and run that shit back, real talk. Okay? Because, he won all of the first half of the fight to me, Frank Martin. Period. I had him like 5-2 before that 8th round. In Frank's favor. The fuck? That man looks stunning in this fight, and Tank's face is the proof of that shit. No words are needed at all. Look at motherfucking Tank's face. Okay? Yeah, y'all. Let's not act brand new over here. But anyway, yes, the beautiful king, Tank Davis, is still the reigning king of 135. The respect is due to this young man. He fought like an OG, and he passed the test of facing his most evenly matched competitor ever in his career up to this point. Now, who is going to be next for Tank? Do I really need to ask that, or do we all know the answer? Huh? Of course, all eyes are going to be peeled to see what the King Shakur Stevenson will be doing with his opponent, Artem, this July, right? Next month on the 6th. We are definitely going to be keeping locked to that showdown. And should Shakur come out victorious, I don't want to hear a motherfucking word or an excuse. That's just me keeping it all the way buck. That fight needs to happen next. Should Shakur come out victorious, there is no other fight at 135 besides Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson. I said what the fuck I said, okay? There's no other fight that matters for Tank at 135. Loma, one could probably say Loma is the next big name, but goddamn Tank bypassed that Loma fight for so long that the fight really has no significance to me. Okay? Tank prolonged and dodged that man as if he wanted to ensure that every ounce of sting and venom would dwindle in Lomachenko, real talk. Okay? He kind of waited for the fire to dim as best he could. And now the fight just kind of lost its fervor to me personally. But definitely him and Shakur Stevenson is what the boxing world wants to see. And we are definitely awaiting in anticipation. Hopefully Core is successful in his upcoming fight next month. And we fight fans get to see fireworks once again. You know what? As I always say, and as all the channels that I rock with say and are in support of, this game that we love so much is about the elite facing the elite. There is nothing else. There is no other discussion. Win, lose, or draw, these men sharpen each other and become great. And they become great in tandem. In tandem. They do not do it alone. It is only through each other that they can rise and sharpen their skills. They must go through each other to make it out of the fire. Okay? Even in Frank's defeat, for example, last night, he is ironclad and he will come again. The beautiful thing about this is that Frank Martin has now been battle tested by an elite warrior like himself. Not only is it another competitor that he got to sharpen his skills against, but he got to face one of the best, if not the best, at 135, period. He got to stand the test of time in battle in the heat of exchange and warfare with the King Tank Davis. Listen, he could do nothing else but become sharper and more skilled and more of an elite competitor in his own right after going through the fire with Tank Davis the way he did last night. He put on a hell of a performance, Frank Martin. Okay? And he should only be more tenacious after this experience. Same thing with Tank Davis. He has come out not only the victor, but he has come out the victor against somebody whose skill is nearest to his than anybody else that he's faced in the ring. And he is made ironclad after coming out of this battle with Frank Martin. Okay? He is made stronger via the fire of Frank Martin. And he proved himself amid that fire in a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful way. And Tank Davis is definitely going to have to answer that call once again because it does not stop. This is what he should be doing. There should be no soft touches on his resume from this point onward. It wouldn't make sense for it to be after facing the likes of somebody as graceful and skillful and beautiful a fighter as Frank Martin. It would be terrible for Tank Davis to then regress after coming out successfully against somebody of Frank Martin's caliber. I only want to see up in competition from here from the King Tank Davis. Okay? Real talk, heart cannot be bought, you guys. It just can't. It can only be earned and proven. Heart can only be earned and proven. And heart is what we got last night from these two beautiful men. And heart is definitely and by far what I demand of all of the beautiful men that I back in this sport. Okay? The sport that I love most. Let's fucking go, y'all. I'm on to the next. Peace.